Hi everybody, it's Katrina and today I'm here with my March reflections. So I'm going to be using the same Passion Planner reflection questions as I used for last month, and I'm going to put all the questions into the description box, so if you would like to reflect with me, you can pause the video whenever. So let's just jump right in. The first question is, what was the most memorable part of this past month and describe it? So in the beginning of March, Ryan and I took a little trip to Santa Barbara, which is about 2 hours out, and I feel like it was just such a nice little getaway and vacation, even though it was just for a weekend and it was relatively close. I haven't been to SB in over 15 years, so everything was very, new and exciting to me. We were able to try new foods, go to these different places. It just felt like an extended date, and I felt like it was a much needed time for unplugging and rest. A few of the things that I wrote down here was that California is beautiful. I think that SoCal, the place I live in, even though I've been here my whole life, there's so much I haven't seen, and I can't wait to continue exploring and just seeking out the little beauty in the places near me and further away as well. Look for the moments that work out. So I felt like on our little weekend trip, just so many little things were working in our favor. As we were driving, the weather was getting so much better. When we got there, it started to sprinkle, but by the time our food came out, the rain stopped. By the time we finished eating, the rain started pouring again, and then the hotel let us check in early. Our hotel was like in this wonderful intersection where all the food we wanted to try was just nearby. And so even though, some things didn't work out the way we planned, I feel like there were so many little moments to appreciate, and it just made our trip all the more better. And then two other things that I wrote was that I was a bit anxious. I feel like this was my first, trip during the pandemic besides flying home, which was a whole nother ball of anxiety, but I felt like being around people, eating out for the first time, and we only ate out once during our weekend there, and just kind of going on this trip just made me feel really anxious, and I felt like I was constantly looking over my shoulder, making sure my mask was on correctly. It was not a super pleasant feeling, but I think we took a lot of precautions to be safer. And then lastly, just taking care and adapting to my body. I brought my own kettle because being without hot water is really hard, especially if I'm eating a lot of heavy foods, which we were. I brought green juice, I brought throat coat tea. I made sure to stand like 2 hours after we ate dinner to digest. Overall, I felt pretty good. I had my medicines and everything, and it was all good, and I feel like I kind of learned how to balance, having fun, letting myself loose, but also taking care of my body too. So the second question is, what were the 3 biggest lessons you've learned this past month? This one was a little bit hard, but for the first one I put, adapting to the way our bodies change is so important for well-being. And I've just been thinking about the way in which my body has changed in the last several years, and how I always joke that I'm like a grandma in a 20-something-year-old body, but I think that it's important to notice the changes in your body and what you can't and can do. So for me, in the past few years, my eyes have gotten really weak to the point where I can no longer wear contacts for long periods of time. I can't even sleep when the sun is out if I don't have like a black shirt over my head because it's too bright somehow. I have to take breaks off my phone, or I get really bad headaches. My LPR, acid reflux, cough, throat, whatever, limits the food that I can eat, has changed my diet and just the amount of food that I can eat. I have to really think beforehand, like, okay, what will I be eating at this day and how can I prepare for that leading up to it? The allergies that I have affects the clothes that I can wear comfortably, the activities that I'm able to do, the food that I'm able to enjoy, medicine that I just have to keep taking. My coughing and throat, I can no longer sing and scream and lecture the way I used to, and a lot of this affects my future career prospects too, so I'm constantly thinking about, should I take my doctor's advice and just sign up for speech therapy to learn to use my voice in a way that doesn't hurt my throat? Our bodies will likely not revert and go back to the way they were. We're constantly aging, and even though I'm still very young, I feel the way that my body is changing, and it's different than it was when I was 18, and so maybe I can't have as much fun as other, 26-year-olds and drink all the time, but I can just do things in moderation and learn to adapt so that I'm more comfortable. As I'm looking at these 3 lessons, they're not super uplifting, but I think the second one is important, and it's just kind of surrounding all the news. And mainly I'm talking about the increase in hate crimes and violence towards the Asian community, the shootings that we've seen, assaults. A lot of times I feel like this numbness. I feel like I'm just kind of avoiding it. Sometimes I feel this intense anger or this incredible sadness or helplessness, but ultimately I'm kind of left with this feeling like we just need more love in this world, and how much of this would just disappear if people permeated the world with love instead of constant hate, othering, exclusion. We don't talk about this stuff too much at home. We all know it's happening, but it's just not something that we usually bring up. And instead, we just kind of spend time together. And it's so heartbreaking to see, like, the conversations that I've had in my family text, though, as we're just seeing these things unfold, talking about what weapons to buy, talking about what weapons to put in the car, what kind of things that we should have on us, where we shouldn't go. Being fearful and paranoid and anxious on top of the paranoia that I already felt on a daily basis going out. People respond in different ways. People want to share it, people don't want to share it, and sometimes I feel like really unsure of what I should do too. But my friend Denise said, it's a case by case, and to just go with my heart, go with my gut. And I think she's so right that we wake up each day feeling a little bit different and feeling a little bit different in what our role in all of this is. And so I'm going to continue just taking care of myself and taking care of my family. And the last lesson is that life is just so uncertain, so short, and so fleeting. And cherish those that you love and the moments you have left with them. I'm getting so emotional. We're only on the second question. Death is all around us. And sometimes a death of someone that we may not even know personally can hit so hard. And I think it's okay to grieve a stranger, and to feel down and to have this kind of like unsure existential crisis almost. And I definitely felt that in March. And I felt so much pain for all the families, all the friends that lost someone close. And it just really reminds me to show love, to show affection, to not be afraid to tell the people in my life that I care about them, and to just cherish the little and big moments that I have with the people that are still in my life. So the third question is, review your planner for March and assess your priorities. Are you happy with how you spent your time? And if not, what steps can you take next month to adjust? The first one was to continue a no-buy for wardrobe and just low buy other stuff. So I succeeded in this. I did not buy any new clothes, but I did get a few secondhand pieces from my uncle who was moving, so he had to clear out his closet, including this cashmere sweater. It has a couple holes, so it has a hole here and like here, and a little tear here, but it still works. But do not put it in the washer. I made that mistake even though I kind of knew. And everything got fuzzy. It was terrible. So those are the pieces that I added to my wardrobe. So in March, I really spent time like using the products that I had. Once I finished them up, I would think, okay, do I need this product again? Or can I go without it? Or can I take a break from it and maybe buy it again later? So I was able to kind of just think about it, and then I bought a couple of products again, and then I bought a couple of new products to try. So there was a huge Coco Kind sale at Whole Foods, so I got their eye cream to try, which I'm liking so far, and then I got their toner, which I'll try after my current toner ends, and if I do like it, it'll be a great lifestyle deflation. So the second priority was the habit tracker, and so in March, I actually started using Notion. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's this like online, just kind of workspace where you can customize and create your own pages, and it's really cool. I'm still kind of learning how to use it and how I want to use it, but I made a habit tracker tab, and so I was able to convert all the things that I had on paper onto the computer. I was really good at like showering without my phone in March, going outside, getting some sun, and so I'm trying to kind of level up in April and say like, okay, in addition to just stepping outside for lunch, can you also take a walk each day? Can you wake up a little bit earlier? So the next priority is to put in more time and effort at work. If you don't know, I am currently a part-time social media coordinator for Plain Products, and I do feel happy with the work that I've done in March. I was able to tackle some projects that we've been kind of talking about for a while, making some infographics, made my first IGTV that did really well, collaborated with some of my coworkers, did more research, and just like tackled a lot of things on my to-do list, which felt really good. And so I'm excited to continue doing that this month as well. My next priority was to start the teaching job hunt. I do have an interview later this month, but there are not that many postings yet. So I did update my resume and cover letter, but I'm still just kind of waiting on like openings to pop up. My fifth priority was to be a better girlfriend, and I think I did do better in the month of March. I did surprise Ryan like one time because he was talking about how he really wanted snacks and how he really wanted soda. So I picked up some snacks and then I surprised him. I've also been trying to drive more because he does like it when he can just sit in the passenger seat and admire the scenery. I've been checking in with him more, giving him space, and so I do think that March was a good month for us. And then lastly, my priority was to try new things. I'm usually a creature of habit and I always order the same thing, I always do the same thing, go to the same places, but I just wanted to be a little bit more adventurous, even if it's, you know, such small things like trying a new boba drink. Like that's something I don't usually do. And I decided to go for it. I ended up really liking it, and we went to SB, you know, trying new foods, trying new outfit combos, watching new YouTube videos because I usually just watch the same channels over and over again. But in the month of March, I was like, okay, let's click these random videos that I see on my recommendations, and actually found a couple of really great videos. Overall, I feel pretty good about my priorities and how I did for March. The next question is, how are you different from March and February? So it's more of like an internal change. I feel somehow more like adult-like and also just more content and peaceful with where I'm at right now in life. So I just turned 26 5 days ago, and last year I just felt this impending doom, like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm 26, I'm so old, what have I even done in my life? I haven't even worked yet, blah 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 blah. And now I just feel a little bit more at peace. Even though not much has changed in my life, I feel less of a rush, I guess. Even though my life completely panned out differently. Like in college, I had this whole, you know, I'm gonna graduate early and then go to teach abroad and do all these things. And my life did not follow that path, but I feel pretty happy with where I'm at right now. And I do feel like I want to be more responsible in terms of myself, my life, my family. So the whole notion thing that I was just talking about, I feel helps me feel a little bit more put together. I'm able to just stay organized, have my priorities in line, track my expenses and my income. I just want to just spend more time with my parents, my grandparents, take care of them, take care of myself. And so that kind of just inspired, like on my birthday this year, I decided to make lunch for my parents, and I decided to just spend time with my grandparents instead of like going out and doing something just for myself. So those are just some of the internal changes. So the next question is, who or what are you especially grateful for this month? And for the first one, I chose my ama, which many of you know. She is my grandma. I think a lot of people don't really know how deep we go when we're talking about things. We share things with each other that we don't share with other people. And I'm able to just explain anything that's happening, my relationship problems, my job struggles, my health issues. And even though there is a language barrier, I'm mixing a bunch of random languages together, she's still able to understand and empathize with me. And I think she's just so smart and wise, and so many people her whole life have just underestimated her. And you can see how that affects you when you're now 80 something years old. Like, it doesn't change. You don't just one day become confident. Old people are not immune to, you know, negative outlooks and mental health issues and low self-esteem. They just aren't able to talk about it, or they don't have the tools or language to talk about it. And I think talking with my grandma, you know, we both come to this conclusion, like, everybody is just different. The way people show affection is different. People's predispositions and outlooks on life are different. Personalities are different. And you can't erase the decades of trauma and everything that people have gone through. And I think as I spend more time with her in the past years, I'm just able to see her so much as a human. And I always tell her that when I spend time with my grandparents, I always feel like my heart is being broken and my heart is so full at the same time. And something that I wish, you know, there's all these books for young people to just read, poems to resonate with each other, to affirm ourselves, self-help books. And whenever I'm reading them, I just wish that my grandma had these kind of books growing up, or that I could, you know, somehow translate it to her and give it to her. I do, you know, try to translate some poems to her sometimes, and she understands them. I get really emotional talking about it. I just wish I could have been a friend to her entire life and not just met her in the last, few decades of her life, because there's only so much that I can do. I can give her happy moments, but I cannot change how she sees herself. Okay, I'm just gonna stop there and move on to the next thing that I'm grateful for is my cohort mates. So my grad school cohort from last year, we had a reunion in March, and it was just so nice to see everybody's faces. You know what I think is that whenever you see those like Instagram slides, like how to be a good friend or like whatever, I feel like that is how they are. Like that is the level of the love and the affirmations and just support that I feel from them. From all the friends who checked up on me, especially amidst all of the anti-Asian hate last month, to just all the support that I get as I'm going through my path this year, not in the classroom. Like I was always so scared before going to grad school. Like, am I gonna make friends? Am I gonna get along with the people that I meet there? And all my insecurities, and I feel like I could not have wished for a better cohort to have learned alongside with and to have grown alongside with, and I'm so glad that we are still remaining connected. So just so much love to you all. If any of you are watching this, big hug. So the last thing I just want to give a shout out to is the Buy Nothing Facebook group for my city. So I've talked about it a couple times on my Instagram, but there are Buy Nothing groups all over the world. You can Google a Buy Nothing project, and then you can look for the group around where you live, and it's just a community of people that are just giving and just expressing gratitude. I've given so many things away: books, makeup, water bottles, and people are just so friendly and appreciative there, and people see someone in need and they're like, oh, I think I have one of those. And so it's just been a really great and rewarding way to declutter, but to also just connect with the community in a different way than I've ever done. So I highly recommend, if you are decluttering or if you're just looking for things, just check out your local Buy Nothing group. You might find some treasures there and some very wonderful people. The next question is 3 things to improve on in April and concrete action items. So the first one that I have is to read more. Reading was on my habit tracker for March, and I read one day. All We Can Save is the book that I started reading in February, and it is a wonderful book with so many great essays, poems from all these women around the world who are climate leaders. I think it's really great, but I will be honest, just some parts when it gets like very technical or sciencey and stuff like that, it kind of loses me, I don't think I want to read this all in one go. Maybe I'll just like pick it up sometimes and read it, but I'm really excited because I got 2 books for my birthday. I got Heart Talk by Cleo Wade from my friend Lena and Homebody by Rupi Kaur from my friend Noor. And these are much easier reads. They're just poems, affirmations, and I think they just are really great because I'm able to pick them up and just read a couple of pages and put it down, and it's nothing like elaborate. I really like that the author of this book actually says in the beginning, like, don't be afraid to write in my book. She actually includes like underlines herself because she wants us to kind of write in it, and it's made me let go of that need to keep it pristine, and I'm able to highlight and write in it, which is nice. My second thing I want to improve on is to just add tiny moments of self-care and intention and slowing down into my days so that I can be more present with what I'm doing. For the last week, I've been showering with the lights off and just lighting a candle and not bringing my phone in, and that's been a really nice way for me to just be present in the feeling of taking a shower and doing my skincare afterwards, and not feeling the need to like, oh, step out of the shower, did I get any notifications? Because that is literally what I used to do. And so it's also been really good for my head and eyes just to give myself that break from the light. I'm also trying to just look around when I wake up instead of just diving for my phone, to just turn on some music, look around, open the blinds, and just laying in my bed a little bit to just kind of take in what's around me before I start my day. And sometimes I'll also read a couple of pages of my books too, and that's like a great way to just start the day on an uplifting note. Last thing I want to improve on is just to question more and evaluate and reevaluate my relationship with things, especially social media, more. I've done research on social media in college, and I'm on social media a lot, and I know the potential benefits, the potential detriments to it. but knowing that doesn't mean you're not susceptible to those as well. And so I think I just need to spend some time to really think about, how is social media negatively impacting me and how is it positively impacting me? Where am I placing value or devaluing myself? And how can I just practice healthier patterns? So I'm just trying to notice more of that because I think I can be better, and I just want to be more mindful about something that I spend so much time on, you know? Okay, so that is it. The last question is, from 1 to 10, how do you feel overall about March? March felt really long, to be honest. Some days were good, some days were not very good, but overall I'm proud of myself for kickstarting some things and getting my wisdom teeth out. All that is to say that I think I'm gonna give it a 7 to 8, but all these ratings are really like, I have no idea what is the scale, but yeah. So thank you, March. Thank you for coming and watching this all. These videos always get so long, but I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you resonated, and please let me know what you think, and I hope you have a wonderful April, and I'll see you soon. Bye.